What's up, everybody? It's Brandon from Box Office Banner and Cult Flick Symposium. I am here to talk about The Machine. Yes. Is this an action movie? Maybe a Terminator ripoff? No. This is the unheard of. This is a modern age comedy. And not only is this unheard of because they don't seem to make studio comedies anymore, I'm also about to review another comedy because I did a double header of studio comedies. Who would have fucking thought? Now, if you like this video, make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that shit, yada, 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 that us YouTubers have to say. But without further ado, let's talk about The Machine. Bert Kreischer. Gonna come clean. That rhymed. Unintentional. Not a huge Bert Kreischer fan. Don't dislike him either. He's not like a stand-up comedian I hate, but he's also not one of my favorites. I'm very picky about my stand-up comedy. For instance, his best bud, Tom Segura, I absolutely love. Bert Kreischer's the guy that, like, I can watch him if he's on. He's solid. Not my favorite. Him in this movie, though, it did kind of intrigue me. The trailer looked like stupid fun. I saw it got bashed by the critics, which, of course, the other movie I reviewed kind of did too. But, it's neither here nor there. It's just kind of cool to see a comedy. And it's cool to see somebody like Bert, who, again, I don't hate. I don't dislike the guy. Just getting, that first run at a starring vehicle. That type of stuff always intrigues me. So I went into this movie not with high expectations, not with low expectations either, just kind of hoping to laugh a little bit. And guys, I did. It's a pretty good movie. That's the review. No. This movie overall was definitely nothing special. I don't think it's even hilarious or even that funny particularly. There's moments that are really funny. But its batshit craziness eventually did kind of win me over, even though it doesn't fully get the appeal of that. Bert in the movie is not amazing by any means, and honestly, it already sounds like I'm trashing it. Nobody really is. But at the same time, nobody's really bad either. It's one of those little, watchable enough as far as characters go, but the story is intriguing enough to keep you going along the ride. Because even though, like I said, they didn't necessarily capitalize on just how batshit crazy this story is and could be, it still is decently structured for a comedy movie, as it keeps you interesting, jumping from crazy set piece to crazy set piece. And even if it did not, again, capitalize on how crazy said set pieces could be, it's still like, oh my God, really? Okay, now we're doing this. There's enough of that to keep you motivated to keep rolling on through. I thought the relationship of Mark Hamill and Bert Kreischer could have been better. Mark Hamill is kind of a disappointment in this movie to me. I was going to say big fan. I don't know about that. I mean, who doesn't like Mark Hamill? I do like Mark Hamill a lot. I am a fan. And I don't know. It just kind of, for me in this movie, kind of feel like he phoned it in. I feel like the chemistry between, the father-son type of situation, they both had their funny moments, but they overall did not really click to me. Like, it felt like you could have, rinse and repeat, put anybody in here in terms of, father-son bonding in the movie. Did not really hit the levels I wanted it to. I will say, even though this comedy might have more miss than hit, alongside the craziness of it that makes you feel like, this is good enough for a one-off watch, in my opinion, it at least does have, when it does hit, it hits pretty hard. There's a few scenes in this movie that I think are laugh out loud funny. So even though you could be like, okay, that's uneven and on the wrong side of it, where I think there's more misses than hits, there is still a lot of those little slight chuckles you give or you laugh on the inside. And the ones that do hit, like I said, really hit. There's a scene involving a neck. I'll just say that. You're already like, where's this going? Yeah. There's a scene involving a neck with Bert Kreischer that I think was absolutely hilarious. It was the most I laughed at anything today. It was pretty fucking great. And as far as making this movie, you're like, okay, well, where does it separate to become good? Well, it's the hits in the movie were hits. They fucking nailed it. The story is at least fun, whimsical in its own fucked up way. It's got some decent action. Now, hear me out here. The action isn't great. Obviously, we don't have anything. It's like John Wick. But, it's for a comedy movie, those being graded on those merits, it's not terrible when the action does pop off. It's pretty fun. There's even, a certain character at the end that kind of busts out some karate moves. And as a martial arts guy, I mean, this dude was throwing, spin kicks and all this other shit. kind of won me over. You know, it's got all your classic big brooding 90s like villains, just bigger than life like guys. A lot of people jacked in this movie. Even, you know, young Burt was in pretty good shape in this movie. I don't know if you noticed that from the trailer. As far as young Burt goes, let's talk about him. Not believable as a young Burt Kreischer. I could see it, but then once again, nothing overly special. So this movie overall definitely has a lot of misses that I think could hurt it. But at the same time, though, I think it does win you over in the end. When it is funny, it is pretty uproariously funny. And it's just a fun, turn your brain off, don't really need to watch it again type of comedy. And honestly, in a day and age where we're lacking at least that, this one did win me over. And Burt overall, even though I didn't think he was great, he did honestly better than I thought he was going to do. Because, hear me out, whereas I don't dislike Burt or I'm not a big fan of Burt, a stand-up comedian going into a movie, I thought I wouldn't come away with the same opinion of him. I actually thought he might be a little worse because it's like, okay, there's a thing of being a stand-up comedian, and there's a thing about being in a movie. He is likable like he always is. And I think if you're a big fan of Burt Kreischer, you're going to like this movie even more than me. And I can't lie, there at least has some merits to it to the point where his performance, like, I'm wanting, like, if this is an ad campaign for watching more Burt Kreischer, I kind of want to watch his new stand-up, which I have not watched yet. I have, like I said, I've seen the guy. I've been wanting to watch the new one just to check it out because, again, I don't dislike him, but it won me over enough to watch that. So if this is your type of thing and you're a big Burt Kreischer fan, definitely go see it. If you're stirred away from, you know, the critics saying it's shit, how many times have critics shit all over a good comedy? If you're somebody that just wants to watch a new fucking comedy and doesn't mind it being a little raunchy and crazy and ruckus, definitely check this out. There's worse ways to pass your time. I give this movie a 6.9 out of 10. I wanted to go a little further. There's a couple things here and there that didn't work. But honestly, like I said too, the action kind of was cool, especially at the end when it got more hand-to-hand combat. You get to see Burt, you know, show off a few skills like him and Tom did, how they did the choreographed, you know, dance videos that they did. Now you got Burt, you know, learning some choreography fighting-wise, which is kind of fun. So definitely check this one out if you're really in the need for some comedy, because I know I was. Been a minute. Anyways, guys, love y'all. Like, share, subscribe, all that good shit. Comment, that is the main thing. Let me know what y'all thought of this movie if you haven't seen or have seen it. And if you haven't seen it, let me know what your expectations are. I'm curious. Obviously, I didn't spoil anything, so I can talk around it if I need to. What's up, guys? Let me know. Peace.